Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Round 1, Game 2 of the March 10th, 2016 Game Night Kit from ANRenthusiast. Here we have the reverse of the matchup you just saw. Before, we did have Rob playing Anarch and Josh playing NBN, and here we have different identities, but still the same matchup. We've got Whizzard, known for the more traditional Dumble Fork build that's really popular right now. A little bit more trashing, a little bit less resource heavy, can go a little bit more tag me. And on the other side, we've got Making News, which goes a little bit more tag heavy. It's got those credits used for traces, usually used to tag the opponent and then do just dirty, dirty things to them. So hopefully we'll see another great matchup. I know the last one went pretty long. They don't have a whole ton of time left for this match, but NBN and Anarch both known to make pretty quick matches. I don't think that we'll have any trouble finishing here. Both sides cutting and drawing the initial hands. We'll see if they keep. I don't see a wild side in there. Now these Anarch decks can be pretty relaxed with their mulligans. They can mulligan any hand that doesn't have a wild side or decent draw or a Faust and get a pretty decent hand back. There's no real bad hands for it, so Josh gonna go ahead and do that while Rob starts his first turn. Install. Will we see the hedge? Nope, we're just gonna see a standard old credit. NBN Ice tends to be pretty cheap, so not too worrying from that side. But just a standard start. Josh gonna go ahead and finish up his shuffling here, making sure his deck is very randomized. Takes a lot of shuffles to really get that done, but we will start pretty soon. We'll see if Rob has elected to defend, if he has any hard ice here, if this is all tagging ice, and maybe Josh can get off to a pretty explosive start. He is going to check R&D first. It is a Gutenberg, tough to break, and tagging, man, it is just taxing on you. 2 credits and a click every time to clear, but he's going to take that tag, so you might as well see a card. Nothing important there. But he knows he has that tag, and without seeing any influence yet, you can probably be pretty sure he's going to clear it, especially after what happened last game on the other side. So, tag cleared, and then Faust played. And very smart moves there, and this is nice because he still has a gigantic hand size. He had drawn a card for his very last click there, discarding a Faust, but he wants to get into that wild side early. He wants to draw into it. But at least if you don't have your wild side, if you end your turn with Faust installed in 5 cards, you can still get over pretty much any remote, and he really wants to keep his opponent off of that early fast advance. He wants to keep him rezzed, get him a little bit lower in credits, and just extend this out until he has his full breakers. He has the David to deal with the toe boost, the Gutenbergs. He starts to destroy some ice, really put the pressure on. He can't let NBN get ahead. So yeah, it looks like an install, a sweep, some money over to Rob's side, and he is pretty set for now. As things go back to Josh, he is seeing exactly what the trace is and exactly what it takes to break Gutenberg here. And he's going to take a data sucker. Is he going to try and go up and over? Yeah, he is going to go up and over with that fork. That gets rid of Gutenberg, and that is an open R&D. So he will trade all those cards and give Rob a little bit of room to score here for the open R&D, knowing that if Rob doesn't defend it, he risks seeing a medium and ending the game really quickly. Rob is going to elect to defend that remote. And his last click is a draw. Very brave move there. He must not have a lot of agendas in hand. Generally, people like to draw early so they can react to the card that they draw. He's drawing last click, which kind of invites Josh to run, but Josh doesn't really have the multi-axis or the pressure right now to do that. He's going to try and get set up. He wants to get this money rolling again, get that wild side. Celebrity Gift comes out and 3 agendas in HQ. He's saying he really needs this cash right now, which is surprising considering he already had, what, 14, 15? But 3 agendas out of HQ. He's really begging Josh to run here. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't install an agenda. But what ice could that be besides Turing that would stop Faust here? Maybe a Swordsman. Swordsman's over HQ, not over the remote. So Swordsman comes out and Faust goes away, and Rob has to be feeling pretty good about that remote that wasn't run first click. I've had worst is hit. Not the greatest thing for Swordsman to hit, but with Faust out of the way, he can try and score out pretty early here. Unfortunately, this just means Josh can run through again and again, hits Explodapalooza first thing, and takes another 5 credits for Rob. But these data sucker counters are mounting. This means that any parasites that come up are going to be devastating. And he can keep going. He knows there's another agenda in HQ, and there's not that many cards left. So, cards being pulled out. Turntable is such a tough card to lose in this matchup, but he didn't see an Astro script, so he can afford to wait and get a different turntable later. Jackson Howard going down to Whizzard. Whizzard's so good even with few credits, being able to trash all those important cards. But, well, normally you'd want that turntable to deal with any early Astro scripts. He knows none are coming right now, so he can wait for the next turntable, and he's not going to be up against his MU limit anytime. And scoring out the Quantum Predictive, very nice to have early. As late game, you tend to go tag me against these decks and just hope not to hit Quantums. The Beal does get scored out for Rob. Not going to let it sit any longer in case Josh does draw what he needs. And Josh going to draw up here, see what he can do. There, he finds the wild side. He'll be down some clicks next turn if he doesn't find an adjusted chronotype. But hopefully that will re-accelerate him into his Faust or at least a David or some sort of ice breaking. He can always just ransack HQ anytime he wants, but he will bleed out cards doing that. Although really that's not any different than using Faust to break like a, an ice wall or something, but you don't get to choose the card, and that's what these Anarchs are all about. They want to choose the cards they lose. They want to pick the best cards for any situation. That's kind of the power of Faust, is that you can just, any cards that aren't super optimal, get rid of them, and then you still keep the ones that you like. Rob intent to keep scoring out of this remote. He's pretty secure in it, or at least he's just hoping Josh doesn't draw what he needs to get through. Instead, Josh going to focus on R&D, which is usually porous but taxing ice at this point. And there we see another Gutenberg. Again, cheap ice. It lets you through, but it's just taxing. It gives you those tags that these decks can do nasty things with, like Pachinko, which is super efficient ice if you're tagged. Now, unfortunately, these are 2 positional pieces of ice. Josh can get through if he kills either piece of ice, which is what these Anarch decks are known for. So we can't expect that to last for long. And Tollbooth coming out. Tollbooth definitely is going to stop him dead without finding a David here. But hopefully Josh can go ahead and kill one of those. And this should be his final click, because he does have Wild Side on the table. I don't think they realize that. I think he's taking a full 4 clicks. That looked like a credit and then a clear the tag. He should be down 1 credit. Not a gigantic factor right now, but the Astro Strip comes out. He had drawn that right afterwards. So 4 early agendas, but 4 points on the table for Rob. Well, there's only 3 for Josh, and one of those scored is an Astro Script. So now Josh is going to be regretting the loss of that console. If he could score just 1 more agenda and swap that around, things would be great for him. But until then, Rob's got a massive chance here to just go straight for that 6 points. And we've already seen Quantum Predictive, so you can't go tag me in emergency mode here, or you risk running into a Quantum Predictive and just giving the opponent the game, as that is an agenda that scores itself if the runner's tagged. There's the click loss, and Faust coming back out, so he's saying, I can't bleed out any more agendas here. I need to make some moves rather quickly. Rob will just go ahead and money up, as he's pretty short, and he'll want to be able to keep resin these ice, try and put some barriers in front of Josh just to slow him down and see if he can't draw that final agenda. Josh does have quite a few data sucker counters, so an extra run on Archives and then a Parasite could take down that Tollbooth really quickly. Instead, the medium comes out, but he can't afford to run through without Ice Destruction too many times. I think we did see that Ice Destruction in his hand. There's the Knifed coming out. Knifed going to take down that Pachinko. The end the runs are really what this Anarch deck's worried about. It can generally deal with anything that doesn't end a run, and he's going to use 2 counters to make it even easier, so it's just 2 cards. Josh decided on exactly what isn't important to him right now. Forked in hand, I'm not sure. Pachinko is useless without Gutenberg. Gutenberg's not useless without Pachinko, so he may have wanted to kill Gutenberg instead, although there is probably a ton of taxing ice and not too many barriers, so maybe he's thinking he can go tag me here, let Rob bring up all his taxing ice, and just say, forget about it, I'm only going to kill end the runs. We did see it closed accounts earlier, I believe, but at 2 credits, it's almost not worth it to go ahead and do that, especially when Josh is accumulating these counters. And he's just making sure Rob can't draw into the agenda he needs. Install advance score. He had drawn on his last click the turn before, so he had drawn that agenda that Josh would have stolen. These are what these MBN decks are so powerful at doing. Just if you get the right draw at the right time, you can just win. You just have all the tools at your disposal to say, hey, I'm just going to find the cards I need, and if you cannot accelerate ahead of me, I've got my foot on the pedal, and I'm just going to go ahead and stomp you into the ground. As Medium's out now, and Josh is desperately digging pretty hard. But I'm not sure he wants to. Quantum Predictors are there. You've seen 3 cards. He can't have another agenda already. This is digging pretty deep. And there's the extra Quantum Predictive. He went tag me. He tried to score any other agenda, but it dug a little too deep and found the Quantum. And a quick return game. And that's the end of round 1. Hopefully you guys enjoyed those. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be bringing you guys round 2 and 3 shortly. So stay tuned for more videos.
There was only that one major mistake in those games, and otherwise you were doing that really well. You did. You forget that you're